Yeah, great to see you. How are you doing? You look well, all happy, all fit and healthy.
Everything's good. I had a really busy day, but it's part of the job, and everything went really well, and I'm excited, looking forward to an exciting week.
Yeah, it's a pretty spicy one. It's strange to think this is just your second UFC fight. Do you feel that you've got your feet under the table now in the UFC? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel settled in?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a fight. I mean, just like every other fight I've had prior to being in the UFC. Obviously, fighting some really good opponents. Excited about that. That's what I wanted. That's why I came out of retirement, and get to make my mark as the best in the world.
Masvidal has been around for a long time. He obviously came up as a street fighter. Do you think there's any sense of people or you specifically underestimating his all-round game? He's got a pretty solid wrestling ability, probably not his biggest strength, but yeah, is there any sense of underestimating him?
No, I don't think so. Not underestimating him at all.
All right. I asked him if he respects your body of work. You can imagine that, he hasn't got a huge amount of respect for it, but I imagine that doesn't bother you too much.
Does not bother me. I mean, this guy's trying to find every reason to not like me. And, I mean, if you just take one accomplishment I have of the many, 2008 U.S. Olympian, that's probably more impressive than anything George will ever do in his whole life.
Does it surprise you that he doesn't like you?
Maybe that's like a tactic he needs. I don't really know what his problem is.
Is it a buzz for you fighting on this card? It's one of the best cards of the year, arguably, and an International Fight Week as well.
I'm excited. I love fighting on the big cards. UFC 235 was a really big card. I think you could argue that UFC 235 and UFC 239 have been the two biggest cards of the year so far, and I think I played a big part in both of those.
The numbers on pretty much anything you do have been crazy. Has that surprised you?
It is. It really is. I mean, I feel like I've been the same person for the last decade, so the perspective shift of people have of me it's kind of shocking even to me.
Is it still surreal for you that you were supposed to be retired? Aren't you supposed to have a pipe and slippers at this point, or be, wrestling off in paradise somewhere? Is it strange for your family as well that you are like at the very highest level still when you perhaps should be relaxing now?
Well, obviously when I retired, I left the caveat that if I got to fight the best guys in the world and prove I was the best, that I would take that opportunity. With the trade that happened between one championship and the UFC last November, somewhere in there, I got the opportunity to prove that. And so I'm taking the opportunity. Listen, this was not my ideal time to get the opportunity. My ideal time would have been when I was in the prime of my career. That being said, sometimes you don't get to dictate when life gives you opportunities, and you just have to take them, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
And things have worked out so that a victory here, and you're right in there with that title shot. Is that the trajectory you envision?
Yeah, I think so. I think it happened fast, but I think obviously I came into this organization at 18-0, which is a huge record that not a lot of people get to. And despite what some people who want to find a reason not to like me may say, there are a lot of very good names on that 18-0 record. And so when I beat a former world champion in my first fight, and now I'm going to beat another guy who's been around as, I don't know if you call him a contender for a long time, I think that it's going to put me right in where I need to be.
I think a lot of people maybe are refreshed by your honesty. You tend to always give honest answers to most questions. You're honest about what you think about fighters. Would you recommend that sort of honesty to anybody in their normal life, or does it help if you're an undefeated MMA fighter?
No, I think I've been that honest since before I was an undefeated MMA fighter, and I think that goes a long way, whether it's in my marriage or coaching kids or wherever I'm at. Being honest to people, because even if they don't like what you're saying, they know where you stand, and that goes a long way with people trusting you, with people building bonds with you, and so I mean, I can't recommend honesty and transparency enough.
That's a pretty brutal honesty dished out. I was intrigued to read your thoughts on Nate Diaz and his ability as a welterweight. He sees himself as a welterweight now. Do you think you guys will meet down the line? I think that would be a pretty high-profile encounter if it did happen.
I think it's unlikely that we'll meet because he stinks at welterweight. I believe he's 1-2. I don't think he'll get past Anthony Pettis on August 17th, so that'll probably be 1-3 at welterweight. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you count the Conor McGregor, then he's 2-3. But McGregor's definitely not a welterweight. So I don't even know if you could count those contests.
Are you surprised to see that Colby is fighting Robbie Lawler? That seemed to come out of nowhere in a way.
That came out of nowhere, didn't it? I was kind of shocked by that. Yeah, I don't know what to make of it.
Do you have any thoughts on how it's going to turn out?
I think it's a tough fight for both people. I think it's a good fight for both of them. I think it'll give us a good idea of where Colby stands exactly.
Have you been given any assurances about your own destiny after this fight, should you get a decent victory?
No, I didn't ask for an assurance. I don't need one. If the title shot comes, that's fine. If not, I'll go fight somebody else.
It seems to be like one of the best cards of the year, International Fight Week. John Jones on the card as well. Do you think there's any chance of him getting upset by Santos and his power?
I think the chances that John Jones gets beat by Thiago Santos are very small. I think if you look at Thiago Santos' resume, I mean, he's lost some fights at 185 within the last year, or maybe 15 months or so. But yeah, so I think the chances of him upsetting John are very, very slim. John is very, very elite at what he does.
Is there any chance of us seeing you back out in Asia? I think there's a Singapore card in September, and then I believe, so it's rumored, it's not confirmed, and then there's other cards, in the pipeline, but nothing confirmed. And I know that the UFC with their China Performance Institute is looking to do more things out here. Of course, fans and journalists are hoping for that as well. Would you be interested to come out and fight here?
Yeah, I had a great time. I love my time in Asia with one championship, and I would not be opposed whatsoever to going to Asia if that was the opportunity that was presented to me.
And finally, then, how do you see this one going? How do you see this panning out against Mr. Masvidal?
I think I win a decision, or maybe by submission if I can get him frustrated enough to make a really stupid mistake.